So, evaluating the work. This is where it gets interesting always, because essentially, you know, when I have creative presented to me, I'm generally thinking, you guys are presenting me with your children. And if I don't like it, I'm trying to kill your child and ask you to come back and give me another one. It's a little touchy. So evaluating the work, that's the first place the brief comes into play. Is it on brief? Now, there will be times where you will come up with something absolutely amazing that's not on brief, that is actually the right thing to do for the client, that they may not have known. You know, they used to call me, there was one of my account service people that called me No Surprises Saga, because I hated her landing me with a surprise without telling me ahead of time. Because what I needed to do was turn around and sell it to another 20 people internally. And if I got hit with it and didn't have time to support the idea, which was ultimately going to be amazing, all I could sit in the meeting thinking about was how am I selling it, 5 minutes later. So if she called me on the way out and said, it's not what you're expecting, it's this because of that and this and this, we had something to work with. So is it on brief? How do we sell it? You guys are in the business of selling, actually. And you will be asked to sell your ideas, essentially. And have any of you ever seen a walnut tree, a baby walnut tree? No? Okay, well, it's essentially a stick, literally. It is, I planted them once. They're little sticks. So either you or I, on the client side, are going to be trying to tell people, here's this little stick in the ground, and here's what it's going to look like in a couple of years as a giant tree. You're asking people to imagine with you. So how you sell that idea is really important. You have to know who's on the other side of the table. Are they creative themselves? Are they kind of a brick? Who else is in the room? Do you bring the media people with you? Because showing the media first is actually going to show the idea better because you've gone a slightly different angle. Can we produce it properly? It's incredibly difficult as a client to have a budget and have an idea presented that is double the budget. That's effing amazing. I've had TV budgets of $300,000 and had $1 million ideas presented to me that I had to turn down because I didn't have $1 million. And it really took $1 million to produce it properly. Quality is really important. It doesn't mean that you can't do a really fantastic ad that doesn't cost very much, but it does mean that you have to pay attention. Can you produce your idea in the way you want to? Producers are your friends. Print producers, film producers, they can figure out ways to get things done, and then maybe it'll turn your idea another way that you've never thought of that's better. That goes, again, to linking media and creative, and again and again and again. Where your idea comes to life is almost as important as what the idea is and what you're trying to say. So everybody knows you don't run into a room screaming your head off necessarily if you really want people to know that, I don't know, blah, you know what I mean. I'm getting, right? Where it is important. Thank you. Ideas can also be developed specifically because of the media. Now, you guys might not always have the media buying inside the place that you are. There may be another agency doing it. That's where your account service people come into play. The more context you can get, again, it may affect the idea. Did any of you guys see a couple of years, may have been too long ago, the Streaker campaign? It was actually a naked guy running across a soccer field, interrupting a game. Okay. That idea was called Streaker. It was for the second launch of that shoe that I showed you in 2002. And we knew the media buy. We knew that we had 2 A-pod positions in the AFC championships and the NFC championships. So the creative team knew that we were going to be going essentially immediately from live championship football into the messaging. So the whole trick was to fake out the consumer and make them think that the channel had switched and they dropped into English football. And it worked. It worked brilliantly. We could have actually ran that commercial 4 times and not have to put any other media behind it because of the impact it had. So again, that idea was specifically developed because of the media buy, and it made it that much more powerful. You'll probably be working with other agencies, and you might hear the term play nice in the sandbox. Well, that's great for, little tiny kids, but, we're adults. And actually, a lot of agencies get very disciplined and they have their specialties. A lot of clients are very siloed, and so the PR team doesn't know what, the digital team is doing. But the consumer sees everything, and they see it that much faster now. Every single thing is a touch point. So if you have the big idea, how do you let the other agencies in on it? If they have the big idea and you're leveraging off on that, how do you make the work bigger and broader and more transparent? Because again, consumers see everything. And then the question, does it really make sense? Or is it just incredibly wonderfully creative, but it really doesn't match any of the other things, which is fine, but not really good for the client to get the presentation. I've had those too.